spinny circle, and we are recording, and we are back with another Money Moves, getting ready for the big holiday of the year, at least the second favorite holiday in my book.
Same.
Yeah.
We have the same favorite holiday. I
Awesome.
never meet anyone that has the same favorite holiday.
No, it's July 4th, and I mean, it's warm. Yeah. People are cooking out, probably have some cervezas or some libations going on, and you get to blow stuff up in celebration. So why not, right? But Christmas is my second. But I don't know, man. I mean, I've been seeing some stuff you've been talking about as well. Should we cancel Christmas? Is it too much of a hassle? Is it become too commercialized? Should we just exit out and cancel it in,
boycott it?
What's that?
Boycott it.
Boycott it, yeah. So we're going to talk about that. Should we boycott Christmas? And let's get going, and we'll talk about that in just a few seconds. Before we do, though, give us a little like, give us a little love, hit that heart, hit that thumbs up. It helps the algorithms, and we'll get started on Should We Cancel Christmas? Coming right up. And we're back. We're talking about the holiday of the year, Christmas, or as some of you call Xmas, whatever. But anyway.
You don't call it that. You just might write it to short.
Yeah, it's Christmas. Write it. Get the point. All right. So anyway, let's talk about this. You mentioned a comment to me, is it earlier or yesterday or something like that, about somebody.
The other day, somebody posted on social media, basically let's cancel Christmas. I hate Christmas. It's the worst time of the year. There's so much pressure. I never can get caught up. I'm spending too much money. It's miserable for me. And and I was actually quite surprised at the number of people that were commenting. I agree.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I made a comment that we could talk a little bit about.
I can see why people get frustrated with it, especially right now the economy's tight. Mm-hmm. The Build Back Better apparently starts with take 5 steps backwards and then 1 step forward. I don't know. I'm not an economist, but anyway, it's one of those things that I see where people get frustrated with it. Yeah. It's hectic. You got family coming in, probably some of them you don't even like, right? And they're going to stay in your house. And you got to buy gifts. Do I buy for all my 3rd, 4th, 5th cousins? I'm spending $5,000 for people I talk to once. So I get all of that, but it comes back to that's you. That's you making all that happen, or not setting boundaries and allowing all that to happen. And I made a comment the other day, and I to some friends of mine, we were talking about Christmas gifts and stuff like that, the tree at my house, until this year, we got a transition year. I'm just going to say that. But we had our ornaments were always things that happened to the kids or something throughout the year, we had Woody and those from Toy Story. We had places we visited and stuff like that. We'd always get an ornament, or somebody would celebrate an event, it meant something. So it was like an homage to all of the great events in the past, 10, 20 years. Right. And so, it was always a nice reminder. And then we always focused on, and you've heard it, it's been hallmarked. I'll call it that. Jesus is the reason for the season. Right. And that's what we're celebrating. And I think so many people get caught up in it. And then you've got people who, in my opinion, aren't really practicing Christians, but they just get wrapped up into the holiday aspect of it. Forget what we're really celebrating, and you let it get away from you because you don't want to disappoint or whatever the case may be. So
that was the comment I made, on this one post, is that you have a choice, right? To what you said, it's you, you have a choice of what to participate in, what not. If you feel the pressure from someone else to buy gifts, that's something you have to deal with within yourself. That, right? Because we should not, and I'll tell you my philosophy. My mom's the big decorator. My mom goes all out, and that house is when we say deck the halls, boughs of holly, That is my mom's house.
Those halls
And
are
it's
decked.
they are or
All right.
boughs of holly, whatever. They're decked. Um, and it's I love it, right? But this year she's like, Wendy, I don't really feel like decorating. I'm like, then don't. Right? Like do less this year. It's totally
Yeah.
fine. I'm moving, or I just yeah, in the process of moving from one place to another. And then we're going to New Jersey, and then we're going to my mom's, and I'm like, "Hey kids, I'm not decorating. Cool." Because there's no point. It's to
Yeah.
decorate it to enjoy for a couple days and tear down. And to
Yeah.
me, it's just not worth it, the stress of it, right? So it's like get back to what it really truly means. And for
Yeah.
me, it means being with family. For
Yeah.
me, it means, seeing my kids eyes laid up for the thing they've wanted all year for Christmas, right? And we don't do a lot. I'll tell you, I used to buy a ton of gifts when I just had my 2 kids and my oldest 2 were littles.
Mhm.
I mean, a ridiculous number of gifts. And then between me and my parents, I mean, they probably had 100 gifts. It was insane. When we adopted our kids and I became a mom of 7, my business went backwards and money was tight. It was a hard year for me personally because I had that mindset of I have to get all these things. And I just had a heart to heart with my kids. I said, listen, like this year, I want you
Mhm.
to pick one thing that really means something to you, and that's what you're going to get. And from that point forward, that's what we do. They ask for one big thing that they really want,
Yeah.
and we get them that thing, and then we're not stressed. Now, granted, grandparents still do what they do and
Yeah.
whatever, but
Yeah.
you know,
No,
just
I
take it
totally
off
get
your
it. I
plate.
mean, and that's the thing. It's my parents were divorced when I was young, so I grew up kind of 2 Christmases. Woo woo. It wasn't like that, but made me think of that movie with what is it, Talladega Nights? Anyway,
Mhm.
um, so my father, growing up in California, it was one of those things that he was very. I don't want to say frugal is not the right word. He didn't like to waste things, which I'm the
Yeah.
same way now. And so it's one of those things where I remember one year we had an avocado tree as our Christmas tree because it's like, well, you're going to buy a tree. Think about it. You spend $80
Yeah.
on a tree and then you literally throw it away when it's done. If you're buying live trees. And so he's like, well, let's buy a tree. And he talked to me about it. And I was like, I don't know, 12. He's like, let's buy a tree and then we'll plant it when we're done. I'm like, that is so cool. So we had this little avocado tree. And if you've ever seen an avocado tree as a young sapling, it looked like the Snoopy Christmas tree, right? With like
Love
the
it.
3 limbs. And it's like you had some ornaments, but it was cool. And,
Yeah.
that as far as I know, that tree's still alive today, but it's, it didn't matter. It was the fact that we were
Right.
celebrating and, we had our thing and that was our thing. Right. And it's not about the gifts. And I want to be clear on that. And, it's okay to set limits. It's okay to talk to your adult siblings, say, hey, let's just buy one gift for the kids, or things like that.
Yeah.
And, and limit yourself on that. So you're not stressing out and going into debt, which is, everybody's got the credit card hangover in January. And I want to talk about the financial aspect of it because that's what I do. Right. But it's one of those things you don't have to set yourself up for failure going into 2024 and have that hangover, right? It's all about hooking up with your family and connecting with them and celebrating them. And, I think you shared something on one of our past episodes about, once you're an adult, you don't get to see your family that much and you got very limited time with them based on, their lifespan and stuff like that. So celebrate that. And let's be honest, that's what it's all about anyway. I mean, my mom's side of the family, it was always a joke with cousins and I. It's like, all right, we all get together. And it was a massive blowout. Until my grandmother passed away, and she was like the glue. And we still see each other, but sparingly. But it was one of those things. It's like, all right, let's see who gets into an argument first. But it was fun. It wasn't like craziness. Right. It was always fun to see, and when we'd play cards and that right there, that is what Christmas is about. Not the arguing and the cards or whatever. Being around your family and celebrating it. And reminding yourself why we are all together and literally hitting pause, not thinking about, man, I got so much work to do. That hit pause and unplug and just spend time, rest and be here now, with your family and stuff. It's so easy to get caught up and you see, and what was, used to be a fun event, the Black Friday shopping and stuff. I know we, get together with family members over Thanksgiving and then the Friday afterwards, for whatever reason, women like to wake up at 3 a.m. And I'm being traditional. I'm not trying to be stereotypical. So this isn't you. I'm not trying to censor you or whatever. But it's one of those things that we get up at 3 or 4 a.m. and go hit the lines and go do all the shopping and stuff like that. And, that was cool. But now, it's turned into November is like Black Friday month,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, let's just commercialize it to death.
Yeah.
And what I have seen though, I noticed this past year, is a lot of stores are actually closing on the holidays. Several stores were closed on Thanksgiving, which is great. I try not to shop at stores on Thanksgiving because I don't want them to be like, okay, we need to stay open. Let those people go celebrate. Same thing with Christmas, right? But we have, and I like I said earlier, I see where people have gotten a little bit of a chip on their shoulder about, the Christmas, and it's become too commercialized, but we've let it become that way, folks.
Right. Right.
So, you can stop it just as well as we started it. So,
yep, I agree. Yeah, and I think, don't go into debt over Christmas. Don't focus on the stuff, and I mean, even the food, right? There was one year, the person in my family that typically cooked, it's like, I don't feel like cooking this year. Neither did anyone else. So guess what? We ordered food. We
yeah,
ordered in advance and had it ready, and we just had to heat it up. Like,
yeah,
do what works for your family, and yeah, focus on finding peace and rest, and remembering, if you are a Christian, remember why we're celebrating it in the first place. And just
yep.
take
And
the pressure off. You have that control. That is within your control.
yeah, and I will say this: if you're not a Christian, ask why they're still celebrating the birth of this guy 2,000 plus years later. Maybe there's something to it. So look into that. Make your own decision. But anyway, it's don't let the holiday stress get to you. Water off a duck's back, just shake it off, and realize that you're allowing it to happen, and make a choice not to. And it's again, focus on family, focus on spending time together. And if you're spending time alone this Christmas, make sure you're finding friends to reach out to. And I'm sure they'd love to have you in their household too. So don't be alone this Christmas. But with that, I think we're going to wrap up. Again, we're going to take next week off because it is the week of Christmas. So we're going to be, celebrating that long weekend. Christmas is on a Sunday this year, so we will not be airing the Tuesday after Christmas. We'll have an episode up, but it'll be the best of repeat. But again, I want to wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll be back with some great stuff the following week. And Wendy, I don't know if you got anything else to add to that.
That's it. Merry
All
Christmas.
right. See you next time, and enjoy the time with your family. Don't stress out. Don't go into debt over Christmas, but make sure you're out there celebrating, and remember the joy of Christmas. Bye, everybody.